Yo, what's up? It's your boy DXD Kid here, and today I'm gonna be doing a review of Metro 2033. Well, so actually, I'm gonna add some footage of Last Light in here too, just because I don't want to go back and replay all of Metro 2033 after I just played it. So yeah. That's going to be in here as well, so it's not going to be completely based around a script, but it's just I just have a bunch of notes, so it might be a bit all over the place, so just saying that. I don't know why. So to start off, the plot bases around a young man named Artyom who lives in a post-apocalyptic world, which is based in Moscow, Russia, and basically Russia had a huge war with a bunch of unnamed countries, like a nuclear war. And so now everybody has to live in the metro systems of Moscow. So Artyom lives in a little underground village called a station, which is basically where everybody it's basically the standard living area, houses and towns, and cities are in our world. So yeah, and so basically they're just kind of going about doing their everyday metro stuff. And then their station starts to basically goes under threat by these aliens called the Dark Ones. And so basically there's this guy called Hunter who tells Artyom if he doesn't survive, he's got to go to the capital of the metro called Polis and get help against the Dark Ones. Okay. So now I'm going to start, so now that I've got kind of the plot underway, I'm going to start reviewing. So my first complaint is the story can be a little bit unclear, and sometimes you're not sure what's happening all the time, and I think that's a problem. I think that when you're presenting a story-driven game, it should be a bit more clear. But yeah, but at least it keeps the plot points, the key plot points quite clear to you, so it's not too horrible. And I don't think it's a big problem just because it's based on a book series, and maybe the book series is really where it delves into the lore, but it might be a kind of a crappy design choice if you're making a more kind of story-driven game and the story is not so prevalent. But it really depends on what you think. And I think it can be a nice touch of mystery though, the story sometimes not being so clear. Sometimes it feels very mysterious, actually throughout both games, it's actually not even really revealed who or what the Dark Ones are. I mean, there's one part where, your stepfather makes a theory that they're, the next step in evolution of the, of humans, but, it's not confirmed or anything, so, yeah, it might be confirmed in the books, I don't know, I don't read them. I mean, I might read them, but, yeah. Okay, so I think the game, one of the main things why it's so acclaimed is because it really immerses you and shows off how it's really cramped in the stations, and it looks like a really terrible living environment, and throughout the metro it's really gray and drab, and it really gives you a sense of this is it really is the apocalypse here. It's just also everything looks like it's dirty and it's falling apart, and it just looks like a terrible living environment, which really, like I said, gives you a sense of it really is the apocalypse. Another reason why the game does a great job of conveying the crappy living conditions, and this is really the apocalypse, is the guns look very makeshift, they look very put together. And the way they handle it feel very rugged. There's a lot of recoil, and the sounds they make, they're very it's a very gruff sound, and not to mention there's always a bunch of mutants who attack the stations, and so that's just another touch that shows you that it's very hard to live in this world. And And also, like, whenever there's like in between parts where you go to stations usually, and you just kind of chill out there and talk to the people and overhear them. Sometimes there's people like who seem like they're just kind of sitting around. They seem very demoralized. So it's just kind of, yeah, I think it's really good at showing off the aesthetic of how crappy and how like bad it is to live in these tunnels, which really makes you feel immersed. So that's definitely a good point towards it. If you really like immersion, I think this is a good one to buy. And even though the game is set through for the most part in a linear tunnel, it works pretty well just because, like, just because it really, like I said, is the immersion part, and it really makes you feel immersed. So yeah, and I think it's really just well done here, like I said. So I think that's one of the main selling points, because it's very there's a lot of world building going on here. And also, you probably think like the gameplay gets stale in these little tunnels, but you're just gonna have to trust me, it really doesn't. And also just because also you're going in between the upper world and here, which it really opens up and it looks way more beautiful up there. I mean, it does look really like, it does have its own sense of beauty down in the metro, but it also does have, it's a nice switch up. And also, again, the colors really immerse you. Like it's kind of a more gray color scheme, but it does really immerse you. And yeah, really so that's something good. And also, like I was saying before, like some people, like they're just, when you going into the in-between areas, there's sometimes people talking, and it really makes you feel like, and they have little conversations about how kind of like hard life is, and like how hard stuff really is down here in the metro. So that's a really nice touch, I think. That really makes you feel immersed. Oh, by the way, I'm sorry if you hear people in the background. I'll try and take that out as much as I can, just because I'm not in the most ideal recording spot. And also, by the way, the game is very dark, figuratively, like in terms of setting and plot. Like, it's very serious and dark, but like it is also literally very dark in this game, which is why you have a flashlight and night vision goggles and a little lighter. And so yeah. So the way the game is, like the style of game, it's kind of like a shoot 'em up mixed with a horror game. It kind of switches between, which is also like it really makes you never really get bored. So that's something good. And so you're gonna want to play this if that's your kind of type of game, like shooting games and horror games. So if you're a scaredy cat, I don't think you're gonna like this game. So I think the character writing kind of isn't very great, because the first time you meet Khan, he just kind of drops in, and like that guy dies. I can't remember what his name is. Oh, it's on the tip of my tongue though. It's like he doesn't really feel much remorse besides like saying, "Oh, sorry, he died." So I feel like that's not the greatest character writing, and like I think it's I don't know. And also there's like another little kid who's like kind of seems really sad about like his uncle dies, and I was feeling like really emotional there, but then he just magically gets happy when he meets his mom, and when you save him. That was a bit weird. Yeah, so that was a bit weird, I think. And I can't really find any characters that I really like, I'm generally interested in or like, so I don't know. Also, I think it's kind of weird how the main character talks, like never talks. I mean, that'd be fine, because there's lots of video game style protagonists like Master Chief and Doom Guy, but like he kind of talks in between the loading screens, and that's kind of weird because like I don't know, it's just like that's the only time he talks. I think he should talk more, or just not have him not talk at all. And I feel like those little in between parts could have been conveyed through other characters. It could have been even more world building, which would have been just great. But I don't know. I don't know about him not talking. I don't really like that. Also, another critique I have is, for some reason, the Nazis have Russian accents, and this doesn't really make sense, just because we're living in a Russian tunnel, and like maybe it's like a group of Russians who decided to follow the Nazi principles, but that wouldn't really that this wouldn't make sense because they would have beaten the Nazis by the time the nukes would have like no, sorry, yeah. Yeah, I don't know. It was just, it and then there's also like they also have German technology, and even if there were Nazis, like the Nazis would have been beaten by the time the nukes went off, but it's a fictional world, so I think I can give it a pass. Maybe in this fictional world the Nazis were like didn't get beaten as fast or something. I don't know. Whatever. It's fine. It's just something, a little pet peeve I have. Not like an overall, like I'm gonna lower the rating of the game because of that, but it's just something I think. Also, I think also a really great system that makes it not like a mindless like Call of well, not certain Call of Duties have like a mindless kind of other campaigns kind of have a mindless shoot 'em up style, and I think like this, what differentiates this game from those is like the system where your bullets are literally your currency, and you have to think about what you're shooting so you don't want to waste your ammo because maybe if you shoot that certain thing you might not have enough money to buy like you might not have enough money to buy like new med packs or a gas mask or something. I think the enemy design is really well done because there's a bunch of different enemies who have all different kinds of gimmicks, and it's also nice how it switches between humans and monsters, which really makes the gameplay very different. You never get bored of it. It's never one type of gameplay, especially when it switches up between the above and below ground and the different enemy types. I really think it never gets boring. So yeah, and they all have unique designs, of course, which is great as well. They never get boring to look at. The game never gets boring to look at, which is definitely a big contributing factor of the game being good. And also like it never really gets boring in the tunnels because whenever you think you're gonna get bored, it switches to the upper world or of Moscow. So it really never gets boring. And I really also think another factor of contributing to not being a mindless shooter, like I said, smart enemy design and how they actually look different too, and also the gas mask system where you can only be like up there for a short amount of time, so you really got to manage and know how much how much is left of your filter. So let's see, what other points do I have? Oh yeah, when you get okay, no, that's spoilers. What are the points? I'll just read out some of the things I have here. That I've written down. I think. Oh yeah, the game. Sometimes like when you're in the game, you kind of get a bit too reliant on the shotgun in the underground area, which kind of makes you feel like you need a shotgun, which kind of limits your weapon choice. It's kind of a handicap, but it's not too much of a deal. Just like because of course, like I said, switching up the areas, like you don't always have to have a shotgun on you, but I think it is kind of limiting when you have a shotgun in those enclosed areas. Sometimes, let me just read this first. Oh yeah, it's whatever. I have all these in my review, so let's end this off. So I think you should definitely buy the game. It's cheap. Like I got it for $10. It's usually $30 for the Redux bundle, so it's definitely. I think you should definitely buy it. It's worth the money. Yeah, like I said, I got it for $10. It feels like a $40 game, and that for two games, it's $30. I think it's definitely worth the price point and all the points I bring up. I think you should definitely buy it. I think I give it like a 7 or 8. Actually, probably an 8 out of 10. It's definitely worth it. I think you should buy it. So that's gonna conclude my review, and so I hope you enjoyed, and DXD Kid out.